You wake up, you go to work, and you do everything right. You followed the blueprint, a full-time job, a steady paycheck, and a responsible lifestyle. Yet, at the end of every month, the math simply doesn't add up. There is a persistent, quiet anxiety that sits in the back of your mind. It's the feeling that despite your best efforts, you are running on a treadmill that is slowly speeding up. You aren't lazy, and you aren't reckless. So why does it feel like you're failing? Across the world's wealthiest nations, from London to New York and Tokyo to Berlin, a new class of working broke has emerged. These are people with degrees, careers, and respectable salaries who are still living paycheck to paycheck. The gap between effort and reward has never felt wider. The central mystery of our modern era is no longer about unemployment. It is about the inadequacy of employment itself. Why is a full-time income, once the golden ticket to stability, no longer enough to provide peace of mind? In this documentary, we are peeling back the layers of the modern economic squeeze. We will explore why the middle class is becoming a theoretical concept rather than a lived reality. This is the truth about why you feel broke. For decades, the social contract was simple. If you worked 40 hours a week, the system would take care of the rest. You could afford a home, a family, and a future. That contract hasn't just been amended, it has been shredded. Today, the illusion of stability is maintained by credit and caffeine. We look successful on paper, but our bank accounts tell a story of constant depletion. A single car repair or a dental bill is no longer an inconvenience, it's a catastrophe. We have transitioned from an era of building wealth to an era of managing survival. Even those earning what used to be considered good money find themselves trapped in a cycle of high-functioning poverty. The fear of losing your job isn't just about losing an identity, it's about how quickly the floor would fall out from under you. Most modern professionals are only 90 days away from total liquid exhaustion. The obvious culprit is inflation, but not just the headline numbers you see on the news. The cost of existing, the non-negotiable foundations of life, has decoupled from the reality of wages. Housing is no longer a utility, it is a global asset class. Whether you rent in Vancouver or buy in Milan, you are likely losing 30 to 50% of your take-home pay just to keep a roof over your head. Then there is the quiet leakage. It's the subscription models for every software, the rising cost of basic insurance, and the price of healthy food, which has become a luxury item. Energy and transport costs act as a daily tax on your right to work. You are paying a significant portion of your income just to earn the rest of it. It's an expensive irony that is hard to ignore. Compounding this is the weight of debt. For many, the full-time income is already spoken for before it even hits the account. We are paying for our past educations and our past survival with our current labor. Even if you are frugal, the emergencies have become more frequent and more expensive. The margin for error in a modern household has shrunk to almost zero. One bad week can erase 6 months of disciplined saving. Wages have remained stubbornly flat when adjusted for the true cost of living. You are likely more productive than workers were 30 years ago, yet your purchasing power is a fraction of theirs. The financial pressure is objective, but the psychological toll is where the real damage is done. There is a deep, prevailing sense of shame in being broke while working a good job. We blame ourselves. We look at our coffee purchases or our modest vacations and feel a sense of guilt, as if these small comforts are the reason we can't afford a $500,000 home. This creates a state of chronic survival mode. When your brain is constantly calculating balances and due dates, you lose the ability to think long-term. Your world narrows down to the next 30 days. The exhaustion is not just physical, it's the weight of the mental load. Keeping the plate spinning requires a level of cognitive effort that leaves many people burnt out before they even start their workday. It's a lonely experience. We see others on social media appearing to thrive,
not realizing they are likely navigating the same treacherous waters, fueled by the same debt and the same anxiety. This sense of falling behind, even when you are moving forward, is a unique feature of the 21st century. It's a psychological treadmill where the finish line keeps moving further away. To understand why this is happening, we have to look beyond our own bank statements. The global economy has undergone a structural shift that favors capital over labor. In the advanced economies, wealth has increasingly moved into assets like real estate and stocks. If you don't already own these assets, your labor is essentially being used to pay those who do. The squeeze on the middle class is a mathematical inevitability in a system where the cost of assets grows faster than the price of work. You aren't imagining it, the game is genuinely harder to play. Global competition and automation have stripped away the leverage that workers once had. Staying valuable in the modern economy requires constant, unpaid self-investment, further draining your resources. Earning more doesn't always solve the problem. As you climb the ladder, the tax on success and the higher costs of maintaining a professional life often swallow the raises before you can feel them. This is why people earning six figures can still feel fragile. The lifestyle required to maintain that income is often just as expensive as the income itself, leaving no room for true wealth building. There is a common narrative that if you are struggling, you are making bad choices, but the data suggests otherwise. Most people are working longer hours and taking fewer holidays than previous generations. We are living in an era of efficient struggle. We have optimized our lives, cut our costs, and increased our output, yet the feeling of being broke remains a constant companion. It is important to acknowledge the emotional truth. You are not failing. You are navigating an economic landscape that was not designed for your stability, but for maximum extraction. The frustration you feel is a rational response to an irrational situation. It is the friction between your human need for security and a system that treats security as an optional luxury. Many of us are performing financial gymnastics every single day just to stay in the same place. That is not a personal failure, it is a testament to your resilience. So where does this leave us? The reality is that the traditional path to prosperity has become a narrow corridor. We have to stop blaming our character for the failures of the macroeconomy. Feeling broke on a full-time income is the defining experience of our time. It is a shared struggle that crosses borders and industries, affecting millions who are doing everything right. This documentary isn't a call to hustle harder or cut out the lattes. It is a moment of recognition. It is an acknowledgement that the burden you are carrying is real and it is heavy. Modern economic life has become a high-stakes balancing act. If you feel like you are barely holding it together, it's because the system is no longer designed to hold you. The first step towards a solution is removing the shame. You are not failing because you are failing. You are feeling the weight of a world that has become much harder to inhabit. We are all looking for the same thing, the return of peace of mind. Until the system recognizes the value of work again, that peace will remain the most expensive thing we try to buy. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, you aren't alone. In the next chapter, we will look at how people are beginning to redefine what a successful life looks like in a world that can't be won by working hard alone. Consider the specific pressure in the United States, where the cost of healthcare can evaporate a decade of savings in a single weekend. Here, even a good full-time job is often just one diagnosis away from insolvency. In the UK and Canada, the housing crisis has reached a point of absurdity. Entire generations of professionals are realizing they may never own the four walls they live in, regardless of their career trajectory. In Japan and Germany, the traditional job-for-life model is fracturing. The security that once defined these cultures is being replaced by a precarious gig mentality, even within corporate structures.
This global synchronization of struggle suggests that the problem is not local policy, but a fundamental flaw in how we value human time. We are trading our lives for a currency that buys less every year. We have become wealthy in technology and poor in time and space. We have the world's knowledge in our pockets, but we cannot afford the quiet and the stability that our parents took for granted. This leads to a phenomenon known as lifestyle paralysis. You earn enough to stay, but never enough to leave. You are anchored to a location or a job because the cost of moving or pivoting is too high. The burnout economy thrives on this paralysis. It relies on the fact that you are too tired from working to look for a way out, and too broke to take the risk if you found one. We see this in the rise of side hustles.
People finish a 40-hour week only to start a 20-hour secondary job, not for luxury, but to maintain the baseline. The full-time job has become a part-time income. There is also the hidden cost of optimizing everything. We spend our limited free time searching for deals, managing apps, and trying to shave pennies off our bills. This shadow work is an uncounted tax on our mental health. The social fabric begins to fray when work no longer provides a path forward. When people feel that the game is rigged, the very foundations of community and trust start to erode. We must ask ourselves, what is the point of a high GDP nation if its citizens are constantly in a state of financial panic? A country's wealth should be measured by the security of its people, not the height of its stock market. For the individual, the path forward starts with radical honesty. We have to stop pretending that working harder is a universal fix for a structural problem. Finding community in this shared reality is vital. Knowing that your struggle is mirrored by the person in the office next to you and the person in the city across the ocean changes the narrative from shame to solidarity. We are living through a period of immense transition. The old world is gone, and the new one is still being built, often on the backs of those who are already exhausted. In the end, your value is not defined by your net worth or your ability to keep up with an accelerating system. You are doing your best in a difficult time, and for now, that has to be enough.